Welcome to the TV and Tea podcast. I'm Adriana.
And I'm Selena.
And we are two sisters that have decided to let the internet into the conversations that we have about TV and pop culture over endless cups of tea. In our house, the reoccurring questions are, is it tea time? To which the answer is always yes.
And what are we watching? So pour yourself a cup and get ready to get into it.
Hi guys.
Hey.
Welcome back.
Hey you.
Hey guys. Welcome back to another episode of the TV and Tea podcast.
We are so excited for today's episode.
Yes.
And I feel like we're in a different mood today.
I feel like we're finally happy.
Right? Aren't we happy? I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yes, for sure. I just feel like we've gotten to a place in life, in quarantine, that, you know, we're happy. We're settled. We're thriving.
Thriving. Dirty, flirty, and thriving.
Yes, I know that the world is open. I know that everyone is out there, but as we've stated before, we're just not ready yet. At least yeah. I'm not. I'm not trying to be out in the streets. I just, I'm good. I'm Gucci.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it a couple more months. I'll participate in phase 5 of reopening. And then, yeah, I think I've just been trying to tune out what's been going on.
Yeah.
I'm doing what you do. I'm curating my
feed.
Yeah, so I don't see stuff I don't like anymore.
I am barely on Twitter anymore, and I take really long breaks from Instagram. I go on in when I first wake up early in the morning, and then I'll come back on later in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But I don't just sit and scroll. It's just so toxic.
It's very toxic.
So negative.
I'm trying to live a more European style life, no stress.
Yes.
Very calm. I
for
take
you
a nap
enjoy yourself.
Enjoy my life.
I love that for you.
Right? Yeah. Manifesting that I'm somewhere else.
I love it. Love it. Okay, so catch us up. Give me your quote. How are you feeling this week, sis?
So at the beginning of the week, I was a little nostalgic. So I picked this quote to reflect that. And it is actually from The Politician, Season 1. So excited to talk about another Ryan Murphy show today. But it is, the happiest I've been in my life was when I was in New York with nothing. And that is from Season 1, The Assassination of Peyton Hobart. And earlier this week, I was just thinking about New York, and I was like, wow, I miss New York. I miss sharing a little pizza with my friends and walking on the streets and feeling fabulous, feeling Giovanni. So yeah, I was disassociating to New York earlier in this week. And now I'm feeling great. That show was really refreshing. I can't wait to talk about it with you guys, like I just said.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Okay. Well, my quote is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
It is from The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Kim Zolciak to be what is that? Exact. Wow, total brain fart. Anyways, and she says, food and liquor, I gotta have them both.
Yes.
And I just feel for the past week or so, I've just been well, we had started working out and then we stopped. And when I stopped, I have just been eating everything and just really enjoying it and just having the best meals.
Yes.
Mommy has been cooking some really good stuff. And last night I got into bed with a glass of wine, and then I had a second glass of wine. And I was just this is so good. I'm just having the most fun watching this show, having my glass of wine.
Mm-hmm.
I had gotten a snack. I was just enjoying the vibes.
Yes.
And yeah, that's just how I'm feeling. I just want all the food, all the wine. I just want to luxuriate and just relax and
live, laugh, love.
Yes.
Eat, pray, love.
Yes. Yeah. I might go on an eat, pray, love journey after.
I'm with it. I love an eat, pray, love journey. And that's why I actually mentioned New York, because I went at the beginning of February before everything went to shit. And I think that was a little bit of an eat, pray, love journey. My best friend was going through a breakup. I was at a crossroads and we were just like, let's go. Let's just disappear.
Yeah,
And we
I
went
like
on a
that.
whim.
I like that. Like, I think I need one of those. I need to like pick a destination when they allow Americans to leave the US, because like right now we're banned from everywhere.
We're actually not banned from Spain, and one of my friends is going to Spain.
Spain
in,
would
like,
be
2 weeks.
great.
Yeah.
Oh
He's
my
going in 2
God.
weeks.
Spain would be a really great destination.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think I need one of those. Like, I've redone so much. I went through my closet again. I got rid of more stuff again. I just feel like light and fresh, and I feel like I can go anywhere and do anything and be anything. And that's where my head's at. So I just want all the food, all the liquor, and I just want to have like the best time doing it.
I'm with it.
Yeah.
I'm here for it. Let us know how you guys are feeling.
Yeah,
this
like
week.
what's the temperature out there? I feel like we're in such a bubble in the house that we don't know what's going on in the outside world. We don't know like what the mood is, how people are feeling, like what's going on, guys?
Yeah, are you guys okay? Because I feel like we might be are we being tone deaf right now that our lives are like doing okay and everyone else is a mess?
I don't know. I just feel like it's really important to find the joy where you can.
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
That's the mindset I'm having right now. And obviously there are things that are difficult that are happening, things that need a lot of attention, things that are, not the most positive. But I think if you can find the moments of joy throughout your day, throughout your life, in your space, like, I just think it shifts so much. Like, I'm on such a, like, curate the vibes kind of thing right now. Like, you gotta find ways to uplift yourself, because you're never going to be able to be in the right headspace to take on those difficult things that come up in life if you're not at peace with yourself and find joy for yourself and make yourself happy.
Words of wisdom. Cheers to that, Guru Adriana. Yeah, and cheers. And don't think we forgot about Black Lives Matter, you guys. That's still very much in our minds. I think I'm just trying not to be sad about it anymore.
Yeah, like, I think you have to be in the space where you can, like, continue to push for change, push for the reimagination of society, and push for the difficult things that need to happen in this country, but
still prioritize yourself and your joy.
Yeah, I think on a personal level, like, you might take those things home with you, but they don't have to live in bed with you. They don't have to eat your meal with you. And that's where I feel like, find those little moments, like, enjoy your cup of tea, like, really, like, sip it and enjoy the flavor and have it nourish you, so you can go on and be like, yeah, I'm going to take on this difficult task. I'm going to push myself to learn more, be more, grow more, and all of those kinds of things. So, yeah.
We love that.
That's where I'm at.
Love that for you.
Hope you guys can feel the message and do the same for yourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's get into the TV portion of the show.
Yes, let's get into it.
Okay, this week we are talking about I feel like we're the only ones that watch this show and love this show, but The Politician.
Okay, so I was so excited for this episode, you guys. The Politician is one of my favorite Ryan Murphy shows and one of my favorite shows on Netflix. I was so excited when it came back. But as I was doing research for this episode, I found that some people didn't like it.
Yeah.
I actually Weird, right? I actually want to read you guys the quote. Let me see from the article. Yes, The Politician is a mess. Many reviews largely agree on this. Whether or not you enjoy it depends on your tolerance for rich people behaving badly amidst a stylish backdrop and twists that, while shocking, don't make a lot of sense. And I was shook, you guys, because this is one of my favorite shows. And there are a lot of twists and turns, but at the end of the day, it is a satire. It is supposed to be absurd and outlandish. Completely.
Like, I think this is just an over-exaggeration of everything that is American politics, of the extremely wealthy, of, you know, people in power and people with money, and it's supposed to be over the top because those people are over the top and they run this country and their corporations like it's a fucking joke.
Like it's a game.
Right. And
Yeah.
I just feel like this is just such a good exploration of that and just exaggeration of it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I find the show just be so funny. Like, I think the writing is so smart. He does this like so well. Same thing with Scream Queens. It was like over exaggeration of what is actually happening and what's so real, but the writing is just smart. It's quick. It's funny.
It's so quick.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's one of the things I really like about this show. This is definitely a show where you can't put down your phone. You can't be distracted because then you're going to miss the best, funniest part of the episode.
Like if you're watching the show and you're scrolling through your phone, you're not going to get it. You're not going to follow it. You're going to think like, what's going on? What's happening? You're just like not going to be into it. You have to watch this.
And even so, you don't want to be on your phone. That's how entertaining it is.
Yeah.
I wasn't bored at one point in this season.
Yeah, like I think it was great. Season 1 was great. I thought this was great. And I love like his style of like that shiny, like glossy
film.
It just feels like you're in an actual magazine, like from the 90s. It's just like, oh, I love that style of photography that they use to shoot this show. Like that is what makes the show to me.
And the fashion.
Yes, like the outfits and just the glam, like I don't really know most of the people's names. I'm really bad with names if you haven't like figured it out at this point.
I think they've noticed.
But the girlfriend, Peyton's girlfriend, what's her name?
Alice.
Her outfits are so cute. Her little like tweed Chanel jackets and the pearls and the headbands, like I live for her. And the little like shoe, I just like love her style. Like the way they dress her is just so cute. It's very like a modern take on like 60s fashion, very Jackie O. Just like, I love it. It's so adorable. And I think it accentuates her personality because she wants to be this wife and this like doting girlfriend and, you know, the first lady. And she's just like prim and proper, but she's like really kind of scandalous and like willing to do anything for her love and for her relationship. And I just feel like that's an exaggeration of what women were in the 50s and 60s.
Mm-hmm.
I love her character so much.
Stand by your man, even if you gotta kill and lie and steal.
And have sex with other girls.
It's scandalous.
I love it.
I love it. And I like how this season they expanded on her character to show that she had feelings. Because I think season 1, she did whatever she had to do for Peyton. But this season, you see it take a toll on her. And you're like, oh wait, she is human. She's not indifferent to the crazy things that she's doing to help him.
Yeah.
And I think that happened for a lot of characters this season. But I feel like we didn't even tell people what
I know,
the show's
we're just
about.
like diving in.
Yeah, so a little summary. The story focuses on Peyton Hobart. We first see him as a senior in high school running for class president. And also he has this goal of becoming student body president. Yeah. And also we see that he has this goal of becoming president of the United States one day. And the way he approaches it, he is just very strange and funny. He has every biography of every president that ever was. He is following to a T each thing his favorite presidents did in their childhood. His parents are rich. He's adopted. It's a good, I don't know how to describe it. It's just a little different.
Yeah, it's like he was born to be in the life that he's living. Yeah. Even though like he was adopted into it. So it's like he almost fits in with his family more so than his other brothers, his twin brothers. They're a mess. And he is just like the shining apple of the family of his mother. And he is just so
driven, ambitious.
Yeah, I was gonna say like unapologetically ambitious about his
goal. He lives, breathes, eats to be the president one day.
Yes. And I feel like that it takes like a very specific kind of person to be like, I'm actually going to be the president. You have to have a sort of hubris that really gives you that is, I give zero fucks what it's going to take to get there.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like people don't just fall into that. You're planning for it, you're working towards it, you're driving for that. And he definitely has that, and you see that build throughout season 1. He picks a running mate because the optics around her are great. You know, she's sick and she has cancer, and
he wants the appeal,
of
the
being
emotional appeal.
Yes, of being relatable to the student body. And so, you know, you just see his campaign evolve and fall apart, and he goes through just like an evolution of understanding like the ups and downs that can happen to him within politics and in running a campaign and then being elected and all of that kind of stuff, which is great. And you're seeing that carry out again in season 2. He's running another campaign. He's running for state senator of New York, and he's still in school.
Yeah.
Which, for a second, I didn't notice it at the beginning of the season, but then he was in his dorm room, and I was like, why is he in a dorm? But then I realized, like, he's still in college while he's running for state senator, and, like, he's so young. Like, he's probably, like, 21.
21, 22.
And that's just like so young to be so ambitious and so ballsy about it to do it. And I just feel like it's like only a white man.
You know what I was actually thinking? What I was trying to say earlier about Peyton as a character is that he's not an extraordinary person. And I feel like you usually think it takes an extraordinary person to become a world leader, but his ambition is what makes him extraordinary. He is a regular white rich kid, very lame, and I feel like it says a lot about our society. You don't have to come from anywhere. It just has to come in the right package for you to get what you want.
Yeah, he's a good speaker. He's passionate, he's enthusiastic, and he like fits the part.
Yeah, random student from NYU running for Senate, never. But Peyton, he makes it work.
Right.
Yeah.
And he's got this like bands of characters that support him, all of his friends.
Oh yeah.
And they're just as ambitious and obsessed and like loyal to him as he is to himself. Even more so. They're willing to rob, steal, like they're willing to do anything to get this man elected because they want to be in the room where it happens.
Yes.
You know, like they want to be along for the ride. They know that they don't fit the part, but they are just as ambitious to be on the sidelines, on the side stage, behind the scenes, as he is to be in front of the camera.
Yeah. His two best friends are his advisors and campaign managers. And then his girlfriend, as we talked about earlier, is just this devoted first lady, completely believes in him, wants to do anything to help him succeed. And it even goes as far as his mom, which is played by Gwyneth Paltrow.
Gwyneth!
We love her in this role.
Oh
She's amazing.
She's just, this season, I feel like she just like went off the deep end. Like she's so weird this year. I'm like, what's going on, ma'am?
I have an article by Vulture of every outlandish thing she did in season 2. And I want to tell them. I want to talk about them because she is ridiculous.
Get into it.
Yeah. But anyways, she is just one of those earthy California moms that's like, do whatever you want, sweetie. I support you no matter what. You want to go to space camp? You want to go to this camp? You want to be president? I got you. How much money do you need?
Right.
And that's how she is in season 1.
Yeah.
But season 2 evolves and you see 2 campaigns happen. His mom ends up running for governor in California while Peyton is running for Senate in New York. Let me tell you what this lady says in her campaign.
Man.
The first thing she does is watch the Game of Thrones season finale with her billionaire lover and hate it. That's where we see her at the beginning of this season. She runs for California governor on the platform of suggesting Jake Tapper from CNN hug a tree. She announces that California should secede from the union. Okay. She considers becoming Beto's fake running mate for president. And she paints...
I mean, she's just ridiculous. Like,
polls at 91% approval rating, and then forgets her campaign staffer's name. And she has an affair with the presidential candidate.
Yeah,
that's wife is...
He's a governor from Texas.
Yeah.
And she starts having an affair with him, and his wife is in a coma.
Yeah.
And, like, Gwen, to me, is just, like, one of those mothers that's just like yes to everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she supports you no matter what, and there is no such thing as like tough love. Like she just like feeds his almost like delusions of grandeur, because she's just as delusional for herself.
Mm-hmm.
And they just have the money to support it. Like it's just crazy that people are able to do some of the things that they can just because they have money.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody lets them get away with it. And I just think that her character specifically is just an embodiment of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I feel like she just randomly decided to run for governor. She was just like, I'll run for governor. And it's definitely a little jab at our current president, I think, because it just feels like one day he decided, I'll run for office, even though he was unqualified, even though his platform was a little ridiculous. And this is all a social commentary on that.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, all of these people really shouldn't be in office, but because they have the money and the people behind them to support it, they just go for it.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
And then Peyton's running mate, not running mate, his opposing, the person that he's running against.
Mm-hmm.
What's her name? These characters, I don't know.
We're so bad. Standish.
Mm-hmm. She has been the state senator for 30 years,
mm-hmm.
and she's never run opposed. And now, Peyton's coming in, and it's like she's being shook up, and she is an embodiment of the old guard, the people that have been in power for too long, that have no new ideas, that might have been fighting for quote unquote progressive policies in the 60s and the 70s, but now in 2020 those things are so old, so dead, so lame, and no longer relevant to what the world is now today. And you see, like, she's, as a character, is very an individual, her character is very, like, evolved. She's in a polyamorous relationship. Her husband is a black man, and
a lot of duality in her character.
Yes, but on a policy level, like, she's very old and just stuck.
Mm-hmm.
And she's really goes through, like, swings back and forth with the election. It's going in her favor, his favor, her favor, his favor, and you see her kind of like grapple with the fact that she just doesn't want to let go of the reins. And
I feel like that's all older politicians these days.
Yes.
They see the young people who are qualified with the new ideas, but because they want to keep their power, they don't consider them.
Yes. And they, at one point when on election day, on voting day, there's a scene where she's in the car with that woman the volunteer.
Yeah.
And she's just like, young people just shouldn't have power. Like, they're just too young. Like,
they don't get it.
They don't get it.
They don't know what it takes to get things done.
Yeah. And she says, at one point, they have ideas and they're qualified, but they just shouldn't lead. And I just feel like that is just so, I feel feel like that is like the argument against people like AOC. Like, you know, they're just
against Beto O'Rourke.
Yeah, it's just they have no real reason to oppose younger people coming in other than they just don't want them to. And I just think the social commentary of politics is just, it's like so spot on with what is happening.
So spot on.
Yeah.
Yeah. And in season 2, Peyton's campaign basically becomes a battle of old and new, young and old, the old policies versus the new policies which he wants to adopt, and his platform is global warming and making New York more environmentally friendly. And the policies that he wants to propose, everything he brings up, she basically shoots down. Oh, that's too much money. Oh, that's this, that's that. And that's the same argument that politicians in the US use today as well. It's too expensive to do that. Or we just don't do that. When you guys have the money to do it, y'all just don't want to because you're stuck in your ways. Yeah,
I mean, they find money to do other things, and they don't want to spend the money on preparing the world for the next phase. I think, like, right now, we're in the midst of a pandemic, and a huge economic downturn is about to take place, and we're just starting to see the beginning stages of that, but I don't really think the economic fallout of the pandemic has happened yet, and everyday people are not feeling it as much yet. And when you think of some of the new politicians that are coming in and suggesting new initiatives to battle global warming, to diversify our people's like the jobs that we have, and initiatives like universal basic income, old politicians are not thinking about the future. They're not thinking in ways that will prevent the next generation from all living on the streets. And they don't want to put those things in place before we need them. And I think that's the biggest problem. And I think global warming specifically highlights that. It's because we're not feeling, we are feeling the effects of it, but because we're not melting when we walk outside of our doors, actually melting, they don't think it's a problem.
They don't think it's a problem, and they don't want to do anything about it.
Yeah, and I just feel like so much of politics is, we'll get there when we get there. When it's a problem, we'll deal with it.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right.
But by the time our earth is broke, it's going to be too late. And I have to admit, with everything going on, I kind of forgot that we were in a climate emergency.
Yeah, it feels the biggest thing should be healthcare, and should be fighting against pandemics, and getting people universal healthcare coverage. But those things are just going to exacerbate all their problems, when they come up and they are faced with facing off with a hurricane, or right now with the sand from the Sahara Desert blowing, and there's other things going on that they just need to move their attention around, split it up, multitask.
We live in Miami. I don't want our city to be underwater in 10 years.
Right. And that's probably going to happen. We are sinking, but it's then why are you still building high rises on Miami Beach if you have to pump out the water every time it rains? It's just common sense policies that a lot of government officials that they just don't want to put it in place. And I think this show highlights that in so many ways, where I've gone off on a tangent, but but to bring it back, I think his platform shows those kinds of issues that we have in modern politics to now, right now.
Yeah, what we're really trying to say is the social commentary in this show, chef kiss.
And you know what I also really like this season? How they approach sexuality. They don't discuss it, but it's so fluid. The senator that is Standish, she is in a polyamorous relationship.
She's in a throuple. With 2 men.
Yeah, and she's, she's a 65-year-old woman. You're okay, interesting. And then Peyton is bisexual, and so is...
He's not even bi. He doesn't label himself as that.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But, like, if we were going to put a label on him, I would say he was bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
And so is his girlfriend, and so is... What's that other character's name? The blonde girl with the short haircut? Astrid. You know, I love her, by the way.
She's great.
Oh my god, her wardrobe, that's me. Like, I love how she dresses.
Yeah,
it's
same.
like edgy, but like, so nice. Okay. But Astrid is also bisexual, and like, they don't discuss it. They don't have to like put a label on it. They're just like, yeah, we're like, let's go have this threesome. And I like that it's not something that they had to like come out and say. I like that it's just like, oh, this is what it is, and like, we're moving on. And I feel like so much around sexuality is like, it has to be like a performance. It has to be like here, this is who I am. This is my label. And we should get to a place in society where it's like someone can just be, and doesn't matter like where they fall on it. It's just accepted, and it's not this like topic of conversation or this taboo thing. Like, someone can just be with who they want to be with, love who they want to love, you know.
I think that
I love
it as well. And I think that's the future of television. You don't have to have a token gay character. You don't have to address the issue.
Yeah.
Have whoever you want to have in the show, and let them love whoever they want to love.
Yeah. I love it.
Because that's real life.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have to talk about our labels. We shouldn't have to talk about what you do in your bedroom. Just do it.
Yeah, I agree. I like how it's just so like laissez-faire.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
Yeah, I'm in a throuple. Oh yeah, I just had a threesome. Because that's real life. People do what they gotta do.
Yeah, and I love the like Bette Midler's character, Hadassah.
Oh, I love
her.
All of the campaign managers in the show are hilarious.
Yes, like she is just so spastic and dramatic, and she plays that role so well.
Amazing.
But like, I love that she's like an older woman, and she's dating the man that used to be in the throuple, and she's having like this wild sex with him, and she just feels renewed and invigorated. And you know how much I love old people like finding love. You know, I love that they gave her that role. It's like, you're not dead at 60, and like all of these urges that our bodies have don't just go away. Like, nope. I like that they let her have that, and they don't address her age in certain ways, but I just love that they allowed her to be like free in that character. I just love it. I love this show.
Ryan Murphy is for the people, and that's why I'm confused as to why some people didn't like it.
I know. I think it's one of those like fast talking, like quick-witted, like if you're not paying attention, you might not really get into it. And I can also see like how someone could watch this show and be like, oh my god, these rich white people, like, it's too much, I can't. Like, I get that. But I love that.
I love rich, messy people.
I love it.
I love watching rich, messy people create problems for themselves because they have no problems.
Yes.
The problems they create in this show are just so outlandish and funny. Peyton is running this campaign on being environmentally friendly, and at the end of the day, he's not even that environmentally friendly.
No.
So at one point, his one of his followers, Infinity, she tries to make him go vegan. She tries to make him take a shower and save the water and boil it
and to drink it. Oh my god, that's
so funny,
disgusting. But yeah, like, it's true. It's like, these problems are not problems. Like, these are the most first world problems.
Yes,
like,
and then his mom's campaign is distracting from his campaign. At one point, a ballot box is stolen. The shenanigans that these kids get into, it's just so funny. It's such a fun watch.
Yeah.
And I think that's why the social commentary hits so good. Because I feel like most shows with that amount of social commentary are very heavy. This show is so light.
It's very light.
Yeah.
It's just fun. It's short. I literally watched it last night. Like, all of it.
I binged it in a day so easily, in an afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great. I loved it. Season 2, boom. Season 3, can't wait for it.
I cannot wait for season 3.
And in season 3, so his running mate at the end concedes to him because they're in a tie, and they were gonna break the tie with a game of rock, paper, scissors. Like, that's what I mean by, like, when we say this show is just ridiculous. Like,
it's insane.
there was a tie. We're gonna rock, paper, scissors for the winner. So she finally concedes. She lets Peyton have the appointment, and she is then asked by Gwyneth to run with her for president. She's her VP. They win.
Another ridiculous thing that happens.
Right. And then at the end of the show, she's like, you know, at the end of, in 4 years, when your mother is done with her presidency, I'm going to run. She only wants to do 1 term because she's bored already. And I want you to be my running mate. And he's like, I'm too young to run for vice president. And she's like, it doesn't matter. We're going to change the rules. Don't even worry about it. Just like...
Yeah. She's like, in your mother's first 100 days, we're going to get all of that dumb shit out of the Constitution.
Right. And it's just like, okay.
Okay. That's where this show is going. Just somewhere that is completely bizarre. But it doesn't feel like they jumped the shark. Because since season 1, we've seen how ridiculous the show can get. And also how driven Peyton is and what he will do to win. He will do anything. He will sell his soul. So it's just one step closer to his ultimate goal of being president. I want the show to end with Peyton being president and just...
Do you want to see him actually lead or just run campaigns? I feel like because season 1 is just about the campaign, not about his time in office, and same thing with this season as well. We jump ahead 2 years and we see like, oh, he's gotten all these things accomplished, but we don't see how it happens. It will be interesting to see if they just have the seasons play out as only campaigns, and not actual time in office.
Peyton lives for the campaigns, and so do his advisors and the people around him. And I think Peyton is his most authentic, crazy, morally compromised self in campaigns. So yeah, I would love to see that. Or maybe even Peyton go off and run a campaign against Standish again for president. That would be so fun.
That'd be interesting. Yeah. I think this is like, for that part of his character is definitely a commentary on Trump, because Trump has been campaigning his entire presidency. The man has not stopped campaigning it, like, from the second he got in office, and that's where he thrives. Like, obviously he's not thriving, but you know what I mean? Like, in his sense, he's at his best when he's on a stage and he's being ridiculous and he's talking to his supporters. And, you know...
Peyton is the same.
Exactly.
And I really like how they always have him questioning his morality, his self, his ethics. At the end of the season, he talks to his mom about the difference between morals and ethics. And in his head, there is no difference, and he doesn't have either of those, because at the end of the day, he just wants to win. And I think that's a very honest portrayal of people, because when it comes to what you really want, what will you compromise? Yeah.
Most people will compromise a whole lot. And I think it does a good job of showing, like, human beings are not just good and bad. Everything that they do is not just, you know, evil or good. And there is duality, and there is a wave that we ride through life. Yeah. You know, it's not always so black and white, and you can't always quantify something as, you know, just what it is.
Yeah. And I don't think most people are placed in the position that they question their morality and their ethics that much. It's usually just, are you going to let that person sit beside you in the movie theater? You know, are you going to move your bag? It's never, are you going to rig an election?
Yeah.
But if you were placed in that position, would you?
Yeah.
It makes you question yourself.
Yeah. You know, people, yeah. It's true. Right? You question yourself in small ways. You're faced with, like, conundrums and, like, really, like...
Yeah. Do I tell the truth and hurt this person's feelings? Or do I save them of that? Is it okay to lie in certain instances? And when does the lying get too far? Yeah. I love that aspect of the show as well.
Me too.
It's just so well done.
Yeah, it really is. As you can see, we love it. We stan.
We stan.
We are Ryan Murphy stans. Like, I don't care how many shows, like, he gets. Like, give him all of it. Like,
give him everything.
Yes.
He deserves the world.
I love it.
I love Ryan Murphy. He's my absolute favorite screenwriter, and I'm gonna watch everything he puts out.
Yeah.
Period.
And
y'all better too.
Yes. So go ahead, watch The Politician. It's streaming on Netflix now, both seasons. Tell us what you think. You know, we love it. So if you love it as much as us, hit us up. Let us know what you think. But let us wrap up that segment. And let's head into the tea.
Let's get into the tea. We're going to have a little sip and spill.
Okay, start us off, sis.
Okay, so my first story is that apparently Leah Michele is a tyrant.
Oh yeah, this came out a couple weeks ago.
So let me just read you what she said according to E! News. She tweeted, "George Floyd did not deserve this. This was not an isolated incident and it must end." But one of her old Glee co-stars tweeted her back and said, "LMAO, remember when you made my first television gig a living hell? Because I'll never forget. I believe you told everyone that you had the opportunity, if you had the opportunity, you would, SHIT, in my wig, amongst other traumatic microaggressions that made me question my career in Hollywood." So that's a little racist.
Yes.
Right?
Apparently, she was, you know, not very nice to the Black co-stars on Glee.
On Glee.
And on other shows that she's been on. Other people have come forward with their stories.
Apparently, allegedly.
You know.
Y'all know the drill.
You know. And do you believe it? I believe it.
I believe that maybe she's
sense.
a little bitchy. Is she racist? I don't know. I think everyone kind of has their biases, and maybe as she was being a bitch, her biases just came out in the wrong way. But I think if she's tweeting about George Floyd, it must be genuine. I don't think she wants to see anyone die.
You know what? And I think this is something that a lot of white people have had to like grapple with over this time, is that they might not see themselves as racist, but there is that kind of like internal dialogue that makes them, you know, more aggressive, more, you know, like racially charged towards Black people that they might not think is there.
Plain out mean.
Right.
Your biases are coming out in a mean ass way. She wouldn't have said that to a white co-star. Maybe she would have been bitchy in another way, but it wouldn't have been that intense, I feel like. Yeah.
And I think like for a lot of white people, they don't realize like, oh, this is racially charged, what I'm doing. They're just doing something that they shouldn't be doing. And they're thinking of it as like, I'm being a bitch, or I'm being mean, or I'm upset, or whatever. But it's like on the other end of that, it's like, you wouldn't do this to another white person.
Yeah. And
you wouldn't do it in this way. So maybe it's that. It's you know, it's on the surface maybe not racist, but you know, when you look at it for real, it's like, okay, sis.
Yeah.
We see you.
So she's canceled. I'm saying that according to what people are saying.
Just to go back,
people are saying she's
canceled.
canceled.
For a second, how did you like the cancellation episode in The Politician? Like the way they handled like cancel culture, and it's like, yeah, it's real, but like, is it?
I thought it was so funny.
Yeah, like he dressed up at 6 years old
in an Indian costume.
Yes,
Native American
costume in a headdress, and he was like, you know, at 6 years old, and I shouldn't have done that. I should have known better. And it's like, it was just such a like, why are you apologizing for something you did at 6 years old? Like, I understand there's like racial insensitivity, but at 6 years old in the 90s, like certain things were more acceptable. Like, it's just...
And you're really gonna be mad and cancel poor Peyton. He almost lost the campaign because of it.
Yeah, and I like what you just said, she's canceled. It's like, what does that really mean? Like...
Yeah, I don't like cancel culture.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm just saying that's what people are saying about her. She's canceled. We're no longer going to stand. And it comes to a point where it's just like, I think in this case she should be reprimanded, but other people who have been canceled in the past for the littlest things, it's like, why do we do that? And does it really matter?
Yeah, like, I just wonder...
We're canceling people for everything.
Yeah, I just wonder, like, what are the actual consequences of that? Like, who's actually been canceled, like, on social media, and it actually stuck? Like, is she, like, no longer gonna get casted for roles?
I don't know. And you know what's funny? Doja Cat was canceled, and I realized the other day that I was still following her. And I was just like, wow, did anyone really unfollow this girl? She's putting out a new single. And when I realized I unfollowed her, and I was just like, I wonder how many people canceled her and didn't really do anything.
Yeah, it just always seems so shallow. It's like, oh, she's canceled. This person's canceled. They're done. It's like, what actually happens to them? Like...
Not much, usually.
You know, like, they go on an apology tour. They reinvent themselves. They rebrand. And, you know...
And they're back and they're better.
Yeah, and I feel like, well, this was kind of like my kind of tea story. It's just like, how do we feel about the brands that have come out in favor of Black Lives Matter, that have made these huge donations to social justice causes? Like, how do we feel now on the other end of that? Like, is it acceptable? Is it... what is the general consensus towards what has happened over the past couple weeks since the protest and everything?
That's a good question, because I don't think I've thought about that yet. How do I feel about the brands? I guess they're not canceled in my mind, but what does canceled even mean?
Yeah.
And you know, if something good comes out of it, I will say, like, if a donation came out of it, then that's great. But at the end of the day, do people really care? That's
my thing. It just feels like, okay, these organizations have been around for years. Like the NAACP, the ACLU, like, these are organizations that people are donating $500,000 to $1 million to. You know, those organizations have been around for decades, and you know, the fight that they are fighting for has been their platform for years. And your yearly donation that you use as a tax write-off has been going to cancer research or you know, the environment, or to help the turtles. And now, because it's trending, it's your this year's donation is gonna go towards those things. It just feels really empty. Like,
it cheapens it.
Yeah, and it does make you see, like, it makes you think, like, next year when this isn't trending, when the issues are women's issues, or, you know, children in poverty, you know, whatever, is that going to be the donation you make? And what does that actually do for people's lives? Yes, these organizations, with the money that they're raising, they can further the causes that they're fighting for, but are your Black employees equally compensated as your white ones? You know, how far, like, how many, you know, promotions are you planning to give your Black employees to level the playing field in your workforce? Like, you know, how far does that actually go? What do these donations actually mean to you when you think of creating a society and a workplace and a company that is an equal opportunity place for people of color?
It is just so easy for these brands to donate money to a cause. It's so easy. And maybe that's why it hasn't hit the same.
Yeah.
It's so easy for them to do that. Real action comes from implementing new policies in your company.
Yes. And like initiatives like the Instagram account that's like Pull Up for Change. Have you seen that?
No,
that they're basically asking corporations to release the numbers of, you know, executives and employees, like to show how many like Black people are in positions of power, how across the board, how many employees do you have that are people of color within different races, you know, basically just like releasing your numbers to show like, does your money match what's actually behind the scenes. And people are like, you know, don't spend your money in the companies that are not diverse, who have not actually put any action towards, you know, equaling playing field for people of color in this country. And it's like, are people really gonna follow through with that? Like, what do we now do with that information? How do we now navigate, you know, using the products that we like and, you know, supporting the brands that we think are for us in light of the truth of behind the scenes, the truth of the matter behind the scenes? You know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
What did your favorite brand do during this time?
Yeah.
Did they just randomly donate money when they've never done that before?
Yeah. It just feels a little shallow.
Feels cheap.
Yeah.
Just like no one cares about cancer research anymore because that's just the $1 donation that they have at Marshalls. It cheapens the issue.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm not saying for these companies not to donate. I'm not saying that. I just think that they should be doing more.
Yeah. It's got to actually impact people.
Yeah, you're desensitized to it. Oh, yeah. Cancer research. Oh, Black Lives Matter. No, it should not.
Yeah, like how about not using slave labor to make your products? How about like paying your employees fairly? How about raising your compensation across the board for all people in your company? Hourly workers, and especially the people at the bottom, the people that are making the least in your company. How about raising their quality of life by compensating them fairly?
How about that?
You know? That's all I'm saying.
I would agree. No, I would completely agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's your next tea story? That was my little rant.
We gotta have our little rants every episode, honey.
For
Y'all
real.
know the drill. So my next story is Justin Bieber.
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
2 women accused him of sexual assault, and he came back with the receipts on Twitter. So apparently his accusers made random Twitter accounts and recounted the events that they were alleging very loosely. Okay, they just said, I was assaulted by Justin Bieber this and this day. I don't have the statement in front of you, but y'all can do some research. And he came back with several statements and evidence to basically say that he didn't do it, and it was, quote, factually impossible for him to have assaulted these women.
Yes.
Okay. So I want to read a little bit of it. He says, there is no truth to this story. Every claim of sexual abuse should be taken very seriously, and this is why my response was needed. However, this story is factually impossible, and that is why I will be working with Twitter and the authorities to take legal action. So basically, homegirl said, hey, you assaulted me at the Four Seasons Hotel in Austin. And he said, after a show, and she gave the date. And he said, on that date, I was indeed in Austin, but I was staying at a different hotel with my then girlfriend, Selena Gomez. So I did not assault you.
Interesting. I don't know if there's been a celebrity that has come out with facts.
I don't think there has.
I mean, these allegations are never really refuted in a way that feels concrete, that feels like, oh, we can stand behind that feels like, oh, this might not be as true as we want to. We always want to be on the side of the victim. And, you know, unless somebody has been proven innocent, to me, it's like, okay, you've done it.
Yeah, I think he's definitely proven himself.
But he came back and was like, no. Like, Scooter's on the case. Like, we've got receipts. We've got, you know, facts. And
he showed the receipts from the hotel he was staying at. He showed photos of him and Selena Gomez that night at the time of this alleged assault.
I mean, I don't put anything past anyone. I think like he could have been with Selena and he could have also assaulted a girl in the same night. But I just think he's so vehemently trying to clear his name that you have to kind of be like, well, interesting.
Yeah, and since then, the Twitter accounts of the alleged victims have been deleted, and they don't want to comment to any news publications. So it just seems a little... Everyone processes their abuse in the same way. I'm not saying that these girls are lying at all, but I am saying if you're gonna come out with an allegation like that, you kind of have to stand behind it.
I agree. Everybody processes trauma differently, and to be raped, to be assaulted is traumatic. I don't want to say that there's a right way or a wrong way to come forward with your story. But it does feel, I don't know.
It seems fishy. It seems sketchy. If he's coming back with all of these receipts saying, I'm innocent, I didn't do it, and instead of coming back with your own receipts saying you're going to take your own legal action, you are just deleting your account and not talking to anyone else about it.
It just feels like, okay, I understand like right now that there's different people that have been coming forward with their stories of assault against different people on Twitter, naming names, but you're doing it with your face. You're putting a face to the name. You're not just saying, it's not just a random person. And you're standing in that, whatever the consequences of that are going to be, will be what you face.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't help that both of these women were anonymous as well. They gave first names, no last names.
Yeah, the anonymity of it all, it just feels a little empty, a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah. In my head, Justin Bieber seems like he knows what he's doing. He waited to make a statement. He gathered all his evidence, and it seems very more believable than the women at this point, I will say. But if it does come out that he assaulted these women, then I will be more than happy to take back what I just said.
Yeah, if they are making this up for some reason, I just want people to think about the consequences for the millions of women and children and men that actually are assaulted, and what that does to the credibility of the stories that they tell for the truth of their assaults. If you are going to make up a story just to ruin someone's name, to get yourself out of a situation, to make someone look bad, you are degrading the severity of that crime. You're degrading the severity of that act that is done and carried out against so many people on this earth. And so few rapes get reported, people get charged, and even less people go to jail for rape. And it's probably one of the most frequently done crimes on earth. And it's disheartening to see people doing something because they just want to, I don't know, ruin someone's name or whatever. It feels like just so out of line for someone to go there unnecessarily against someone that didn't do it. Because there are lots of rapists out there. We don't need to make some of them up.
I couldn't have said it better myself. We should not have to make any up.
Right. There are millions of women getting raped every year. You don't need to invent stories where they're not.
You are a sick person if you make up an assault.
Yeah, that's it. That's how I feel.
Completely agree.
Okay.
Do you have any more tea?
Just the last thing I saw this week, Kim Kardashian has signed a deal with Spotify.
Is she gonna make music? I want to see Kim on the mic. Actually, I don't.
Again? Do you remember she put out a song like years ago when she like first started keeping up with the Kardashians, like in the early days?
A real song?
Yeah, it was like a real song with a music video. I remember like the music video was like, she was like in a tree or something like that, I think. I have to look it up. I feel like that's in my memory somewhere.
I don't remember that. That's a moment in pop culture history that I'm not aware of, and I need to be if it's out there.
I feel like it is out there.
Oh my
I have
gosh.
to look. Don't quote me, but I'm almost positive she did come out with a song at one point.
Oh Lord, okay.
Anyways,
we'll get back to you guys on that.
So she's inked a deal for a criminal justice podcast.
Oh, I'm here for it.
She's going to be exploring the themes of wrongful conviction and criminal justice reform.
Yes, honey.
Lawyer
Snaps
Kim.
for Kim. Lawyer Kim. I want to see her on the mic. I feel like everyone's just so obsessed with that family.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. I want to hear her on a podcast. I'd listen to it.
Sure. I don't know. Like, I go back and forth with that family and Kim and all of them. And I just feel like...
Back and forth with them being boring and them being the most interesting thing you've ever seen.
Yeah, like, it just... I hate to put people in boxes, and I feel like we should allow people to grow and evolve and change. And with age, like, your priorities and everything shifts. And pop culture has so polarized, Kim especially. You know, it's like, oh, what does she know about criminal justice reform? You know, because she had a sex tape, or because she's on reality TV, or because she's this or she's that, or, you know, but it's like, can the woman not like develop some depth? Is that like not a thing? Should she be allowed to? Like, can she breathe? Can she live?
Yeah. That's why I'm here for it. Let her reinvent herself. If she wants to be a lawyer and talk about law on a podcast, let the woman do it. And if you don't want to listen to it, don't listen to it. But I'm probably gonna listen to it.
I think it's interesting. I think Spotify is like, the podcast industry right now is just very interesting because a lot of big names are jumping in the podcast game, a lot of celebrities, and they're getting huge deals from these companies. I don't know the actual amount of money that Kim has gotten from this, but I'm sure it's like a pretty nice check.
Yeah.
And you know, it's just interesting to see people move into this space, and it'll be interesting to see what she does with it, because she is, you know, working on becoming a lawyer, and she has gotten people out of jail, and we know Kanye has helped, and, you know, the whole MAGA thing and whatever. It's just interesting. I think it's very interesting.
It's very interesting.
Because she's still so much she's still, like, if you watch the show, you see her, like, she's still very, like, vain and superficial, but it's like she can be those things and be smart and have depth and want to grow and want to help people that have been wrongfully convicted. Like, that's a huge problem in this country. So it's like, hey, kudos. Do you, sis. I am for Kim. I want to see her be sexy on Instagram and then talk about law on Spotify. Hey, maybe we'll be doing that one day. Sexy on Instagram and talking about serious topics on the pod. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Yeah, you know, you don't really have to stay in one lane. Like, you can occupy them all. I think, like, her evolution and so many other women in pop culture, it's like, we try to keep people in one box, and it's like, let them explore. Like, people are not just one thing.
Completely agree.
Yeah.
In other news, I just have like a little bit of a lighter news because I feel like this episode was
heavy. It was heavy? Okay,
yeah,
give it to us.
City Girls' new album, Hot Girl Summer, get into it.
Get into it.
And also, so cringy. Anyways, Meg Thee Stallion's also coming out with an album.
I'm here for it. Like I'm here for female rap. I love a woman's anthem. Give it to me. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, Hot Girl Summer has officially started.
It really has. Even though I'm not like hot girling it up because, you know, the Rona is still real.
Hey, you could be a hot girl at home. Hashtag hot girl at home. I want you to post a bikini picture and hashtag it hot girl at home.
Coming to the gram near you. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm with it. I'm down. Okay, cool.
Yeah, and that's all.
Okay, so I gotta listen to that. Yeah, I've been on an R&B kick lately. But yeah, okay, so that was great. I think that's all we have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching and listening. If you don't know, we are on YouTube, so you can watch our episodes. We have video now. And please go ahead and subscribe on YouTube or subscribe on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Overcast, any platform that you are choosing to listen to us on. You can leave us a rating and review.
But only if it's nice.
Tell us nice things. You know the deal. And we will see you next Friday for another episode of the TB&T podcast. Thank you guys for listening.
Thanks for listening. Peace out, you guys.